Hello there and welcome. This is Primetime News on TV1. Today is the 4th of September 2021. I am Jayantha for the Newsfirst team. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for tonight.
Newsfirst headlines. Main sponsor.
Valuable Finance, best finance company.
Reports of 5,623 medical drugs were erased through the data scam. Ruling party MPs concede. Dedicated economic centres to reopen tomorrow. Mechanism in place to deliver a pack of essential food items to homes in Colombo. 2,056 COVID-19 fatalities reported from Sri Lanka during a 10-day period. Value exceeding 3 billion rupees seized. Jogging track to be constructed on the bund of the Kantale Vava. Heavy resistance from agrarian organizations.
In your top story for this evening, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa says initial steps have been taken to effectively use Sri Lanka's indigenous medicine, including Ayurveda treatments, which are renowned the world over.
The Prime Minister made these remarks while virtually attending an event to declare open an Ayurveda hospital in Sirigala Munaragala from the temple trees. At present, the people face difficulties when finding the correct medical expert, especially doctors. Certain figures hoodwink the people pretending to be doctors. Certain others attempt to treat ailments they do not have proper knowledge on, leading patients to further face complications. We need to distance such acts from society. We intend to develop experiments and tests carried out in relation to Ayurvedic treatment in order for such treatments to be used effectively in the future. This hospital, which treats many non-communicable diseases with the use of indigenous medicine, can provide in-house treatment for a total of 42 patients.
Newsfirst headlines. Main sponsor.
Valuable Finance, best finance company.
In more headline-making news, all dedicated economic centres in the country will be reopened tomorrow and the day after. A process to home deliver essential food items to residences in the Colombo district will also commence from tomorrow.
With this decision, permission has been granted for agricultural produce to be transported to dedicated economic centres situated island-wide. The Ministry of Agriculture says a mechanism to offer excess vegetables through mobile vendors will be in operation as well.
We will purchase all the produce through economic centres and then provide licenses to mobile vendors through divisional secretaries to provide goods to homes. Hence, no food shortage will occur. We will ensure essential food, including vegetables, are distributed to all districts, including district and divisional secretaries. We will leave no room for any farmer to be inconvenienced by ensuring this mechanism operates smoothly.
The office of the District Secretary of Colombo has decided to carry out a special program centering dedicated economic centres in the Colombo district tomorrow and the day after in light of the quarantine curfew that is currently in effect.
Plans are in place to set in motion a program for the home delivery of essential items from tomorrow. If any consumer wishes to get essential items delivered to their homes, they should contact a dedicated economic centre. We will be introducing a special essential goods pack in the coming weeks through 4 dedicated economic centres. It will be priced at 1,000 rupees. Thereafter, a program will be implemented to deliver this essential goods pack to the consumer's doorstep.
අත්‍යවශ්‍ය ආහාර ද්‍රව්‍ය මල්ලත් ඔවුන්ගේ නිවසටම ගෙන ගොස් ලබා දීමේ වැඩසටහනකුත් අපි ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්නට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
In your COVID-19 update for tonight, 3,333 COVID-19 cases were identified today, the 4th of September 2021. According to the latest statistics issued by the Epidemiology Unit, Sri Lanka's total COVID-19 caseload has risen to 459,459 following the discovery of 4,725 COVID-19 cases between the 28th and 31st of August 2021. Meanwhile, 145 COVID deaths were confirmed for yesterday, the 3rd of September, increasing total fatalities in the island to 9,951. 2,056 COVID-19 fatalities have been reported over the past 10 days, excluding deaths confirmed today.
The Institute of Pediatricians says there's a drop in the number of children being admitted to hospitals following the commencement of the home-based quarantine program in the country.
With the curb of the spread of the virus and commencement of home-based treatment programs, we can observe a decline in the number of children being brought to hospitals for treatment across the country. Children who need special medical care should be treated at hospitals. Children who are below the age of 18 in the country are yet to receive the COVID-19 vaccine. Medical experts are currently discussing this matter. Therefore, there is no reason for parents to panic. Sri Lanka has not yet officially approved the vaccination of children under the age of 18. Sri Lanka's vaccine rollout.
284 vaccination centres were in operation today, centering 23 districts of the country. The first dose of the Pfizer vaccine was administered to those between 20 and 30 years at the Youth Corps premises in Naigala, Weerasinghe. The vaccination centre was conducted by the Sri Lanka Army.
The Ministry of Health decides on which district vaccines are delivered to, the number of vaccines delivered and which brand of vaccine is administered. In recent weeks, vaccines were provided in Mana and Kandy. In Hambantota, that relevant brand of vaccine is being administered. These matters were not talked about back then. Vaccination is not conducted to gain political mileage or based on language or religion. The vaccination program has been created according to the recommendations of health experts.
A total of 237,334 people had been inoculated yesterday, the 3rd of September. The Epidemiology Unit says 12,660,231 people have been administered the first dose of the vaccine in the country thus far. 9,007,588 people have been fully vaccinated. The second dose of the Covishield vaccine has been administered to 866,644 people, while 7,201,537 people have been administered the second dose of the Sinopharm vaccine. The Epidemiology Unit adds 190,014 have already been fully vaccinated with the Pfizer vaccine. 696,162 people have been inoculated with the second dose of the Moderna vaccine manufactured in the United States. 33,231 people have been administered the second dose of the Sputnik vaccine, while another 125,857 are to be inoculated with the second dose of the Sputnik vaccine.
සෑම එන්නතක්ම ලැබීම නොලැබීම තියෙන අපේ පාලනයෙන් තොර ඉතාම අනිශ්චිත තත්ත්වයක් තියෙන්නේ.
The procurement of vaccines is beyond our control. It is also an unpredictable factor. Therefore, we did warn the relevant parties of that risk when the first dose was administered. This uncertainty is not an issue stemming from the government or the Ministry of Health. Only around 15,000 second doses were delivered, 2 consignments of 15,000 doses. Thus, we notified that even one dose of this vaccine will build up immunity and the second dose will be administered once they are received.
ඒ වගේම තමා දෙවැනි එන්නත ලැබුණාම ලබා දෙනවයි කියලත්.
Meanwhile, Chief Opposition Whip Lakshman Kiriella has raised concerns over the incident where signatures were obtained when administering the first dose of the Sputnik vaccine in Kandy.
When people in Kandy were administered the Sputnik vaccine in May, they knew they will have trouble procuring the second dose. That is why a signature was taken then. They called some and informed them that a signature will be taken on a letter that the second dose is unnecessary. That proves the officials had an understanding of the complications pertaining to administering the second dose. They fooled the people in Kandy. they put them in danger intentionally. The elite families in Kandy did not take the first dose of the vaccine since they read on the internet that the manufacturing process of the Sputnik vaccine had stopped. They fooled the ordinary people of this country.
නවතා දමා ඇති බව මේ රටේ සාමාන්‍ය ජනතාව අහිංසක ජනතාව රැවට්ටුවා.
Sri Lanka is a country that has made a name internationally in terms of immunity. Even the World Health Organization identifies Sri Lanka as a high level of immunity. Normally, around 300,000 to 350,000 infants are born in Sri Lanka annually. All of them are vaccinated 3 and 7 days after being born. That process should have been expanded. The authority to handle that process should have been given to the health sector, who had already carried out that process. But the government changed its priority list according to their own political whims and fancies. It is because of the political move they made, which included various factions, including the military, the vaccine rollout was unsuccessful.
The deletion of vital and sensitive information from the government's cloud database gave rise to a massive discourse in society in recent weeks. We have a comprehensive report lined up for you on the matter on the other side of this short commercial break.
Valuable Finance, best finance company.
Bellboy's got you covered. Download Bellboy today to get all your household appliance fixing and repairs done. Now available on Android and iOS.
Welcome back to the news. Parliamentarians representing the ruling faction admitted today that 5,623 supportive documents stored on the government cloud have been deleted. Sentiments to that front were expressed during a media briefing held today, organized by the team of parliamentarians representing the government who probed the matter. It was on the 9th of July that data pertaining to the National Medicines Regulatory Authority was deleted from the government cloud. The CID has launched a probe into the deletion of the sensitive information. Yesterday, a group of backbench parliamentarians from the ruling faction travelled to the NMRA and inquired about the matter. Thereafter, the MPs convened a media briefing today to reveal the details they uncovered.
What we observed initially was that necessary security was not set up to protect the data. Attention had not been paid to maintain a backup of the data either. That was what we observed.
We are being asked why there was no backup. Was it us who permitted for a system without a backup drive to be created? I want to know as to why they created such a drive without a backup. Was it with the intention of carrying out a data scam such as this? Supporting documents of 5,623 files have been deleted. No data regarding COVID-19 vaccines have been deleted because that information is entered manually.
එන්නත් සම්බන්ධයෙන් කිසිම දෙයක් මැකිලා නැහැ. ඒ මැකෙන තැනට වැටලා නැහැ. මොකද ඒවා මැනුවලි ක්‍රියාවලියකටයි ඒවා ඒ ටික ඇතුල් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. මේ NMR එක විසින්
I would like to state, in the matter concerning the deletion of data pertaining to the NMRA, the government is the aggrieved party, while those who created this database must be culpable for it.
We wish to iterate that the President, Prime Minister and the Cabinet are prepared to hand down the harshest punishment if this data has been deleted intentionally.
මේ දත්ත එන්ටර් කරලා තියෙන නිකන් අර එක්සෙල් සීට් එක වගේ. ඉතින් මෙහෙම බලද්දි මේක ජාතික ආරක්ෂාවටත් ප්‍රශ්නයක් වෙන ගැටලුවක් නේද?
මේ ව්‍යාපෘතියේ තිබිලා නැත්තේ.
The data had never been secure. Therefore, all stakeholders responsible for creating and maintaining the database must explain facts to the nation.
Journalists queried the MPs over a comment made during the press briefing over certain data being stored in a separate database in recent months apart from the one in question.
Digital කරලා තියෙද්දි ඇයි මේ කොවිඩ් දත්ත පමණක් මැනුවලි මේ කට්ටිය දවඩා කරන සූදානම් වෙන්නේ. සමහර දත්ත සමහර විට
They have had their suspicions on the security of the data. Therefore, they had made a decision to enter COVID-19 related data and certain other vital information manually. That is an excellent decision in my view.
Thanks to that decision, all of the data pertaining to medicine used for COVID-19 is available for anyone. Anyone can see that it has been done in a transparent manner.
Although the parliamentarians claim COVID-19 data had been recorded manually, the NMRA had issued this relevant notice to importers of medicine on the 15th of October 2020. It reads, documents required for registration can be entered through the automation system.
The data scam.
Trade unionists representing the healthcare sector and other factions questioned today as to why parliamentarians from the ruling faction are probing this scam against the backdrop where the CID has already launched an investigation into the incident.
Why are they going there? Is it to lie to the people by concealing the CID probe? If a particular drug is only being imported through one organization, we need to operate under its monopoly. When multiple organizations are granted approval to import that medicine, the price will naturally drop. If supporting documents are deleted, we will once again have to operate under the monopoly. Details of impartial information must be revealed to the country.
The data scam.
If we are to issue a summary of what the public representatives said, they said the NMRA is innocent. Epic Technologies is also innocent. This has been done by an outside party, and that too is not a major matter. Do not speak out without realizing the depth of these incidents. We want the NMRA to operate properly. As public representatives, they must work towards correcting these institutions. Therefore, study this matter extensively.
The data scam.
කොවිඩ් සම්බන්ධ මොන වාර්තාව ඉදිරිපත් කරත් අපිට ඒක පිළිගන්න වෙනවා. ඊතුරු ඔක්කොම මැකුණාට මේක මැකුනේ නැහැ කියපු නිසා. එතකොට
they can add whatever data they want with related to COVID-19, claiming it's manually entered data that wasn't deleted. This data cloud include COVID related information about the spread, medical equipment, drugs and especially equipment required for PCR and antigen testing. They can now compile fake reports on the imports of these equipment, its registration and even the distribution and sales. On one hand, the biggest worry is the fact that the data was erased. However, we should also worry about the risk that they can submit false data after claiming that COVID-related information was not deleted.
ඊටත් වඩා බරපතල කරුණ තමයි ඔක්කොම මැකුණට කොවිඩ් දත්ත මැකුන්නේ නැහැ කියලා කොවිඩ් දත්ත කියලා ඒගොල්ලෝ හදපු දත්ත ප්‍රමාණයක් ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න තියෙන අවදානම්.
The data scam.
In line with the NMRA data scam, the rulers are now saying that they possess the manual entry data related to COVID-19. On the other hand, we have lost some very sensitive data concerning the patients suffering from cardiac and brain illnesses in the country. The biggest concern we have now is on the investigations of this scam. An investigation is to be carried out regarding this incident. If they correctly investigate the COVID-19 data, we will be able to reveal the politicization and other fraudulent activities behind this. Therefore, they are trying to set aside the COVID-19 data from these investigations. There is a large business community behind this. This government is trying to cover them up. We should not forget that. We would like to remind the rulers that one day your conscience will be questioned in front of the people. When that day arrives, you will be left speechless.
The data scam.
A message appears when somebody attempts to delete something from a system. For example, when we try to delete a group of pictures from our phones, a message pops up questioning if we are sure. After deleting the pictures, they move to the deleted items in the recycle bin. It is only when we delete them from the recycle bin, the items get fully erased. With the latest technology, when we delete something, it moves to the cloud. In that case, once the items are deleted from the device, it gets backed up to either the Google account or the iCloud account. When we try to delete it from the cloud, that message pops up twice asking us whether we want to delete the items. Who answered these questions? Data does not get deleted by simply pushing a button. Didn't this institution have a requirement to ask permission from a person in high authority when trying to delete this data? Because a wipe-off of this sort must take place with an order from someone at the top. Who gave that order? We can find who gave that order through the IP address. Through the IP address, we can identify the location at which that person logged in. But without providing any answers to these questions, these MPs had visited the location in order to whitewash their close associates.
Name suppression for the ISIS-inspired Sri Lankan national who stabbed 6 shoppers at an Auckland supermarket in New Zealand before being shot dead by police has been lifted. He was named Ahmed Adil Mohammed Samsudeen, aged 32.
Yesterday, police in New Zealand shot and killed a Sri Lankan who stabbed and wounded at least 7 people at a supermarket in Auckland. Of the 7 injured, 3 are in critical condition. A High Court order keeping his name secret lapsed this evening, with family members deciding not to make an application to fight for continued name suppression. Samsudeen had arrived in New Zealand from Sri Lanka on the 21st of October 2021 on a student visa. He was later granted status as a refugee and later obtained a residency visa. Samsudeen first came to the attention of authorities less than 5 years after his arrival. On the 20th of May 2017, after booking a one-way flight for himself, Samsudeen was arrested at Auckland International Airport, with police believing he was on his way to Syria. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern said immediate measures have already been taken to strengthen terrorism suppression laws in the country.
As you can see, agencies used every tool available to them to protect innocent people from this individual. We already have changes to the terrorism suppression laws underway, with the departmental report just being reported back to Select Committee. That means the public have had their say, and now Parliament must act.
New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, quoting an imam of the Al-Nur Mosque, said, quote, "All terrorists are the same, regardless of their ideology. They stand for hate, while we stand for peace and love," end quote.
I have 2 final things I want to say. The first is to the New Zealand Police. I want to acknowledge the work that you did leading up to this event and the work you do generally to keep us all safe. I also want to acknowledge those who responded at the scene and say thank you. And to the Auckland community, times are tough, and I know that you'll be feeling it right now, but we are all with you.
A joint operation by the Sri Lanka Navy and police, based on intelligence reports, have been able to seize a foreign vessel carrying over 336 kilograms of heroin in international waters south of Sri Lanka. The Navy stated the street value of the stock of narcotics exceeds 3 billion rupees.
The raid was carried out based on intelligence reports received on a vessel carrying narcotics in the international waters south of Sri Lanka. Samudura vessel of the Sri Lanka Navy had been surveying the vessel in question for over 3 weeks. It was reported that the Samudura vessel had set sail on the 12th of August to observe the suspicious foreign fishing vessel. The vessel was seized as planned. Sacks of heroin were found inside the vessel. The drug trafficking vessel, together with 7 foreign nationals aboard, was brought this morning to Colombo Harbour. Defence Secretary General Kamal Gunaratne and Commander of the Navy, Vice Admiral Nishantha Ulugetanna, were also present. We will be able to spend our final hours happily.
ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් මං හිතනවා අපිට අපේ අවසාන කාලය සන්තෝෂයෙන් ගත කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි කියලා.
Further investigations are being carried out by the Police Narcotics Bureau.
Recently, treasure hunters were arrested in the Mahinda sacred grounds, and authorities claim that they were able to capture them due to the behavior of a monkey.
Since the 31st of August, personnel from the Department of Archaeology had the ancient Katusaya under surveillance.
When we looked around, he showed me a monkey. He told me something suspicious is taking place at the cave, because the monkey was keeping an eye on the cave while resting on a tree. It was on the lookout for clues. Other monkeys were distracted. Only this animal was observing. On a normal day, even the leader of the troop of monkeys runs away when they see us. However, on that day, They did not run away. Instead of looking at us, they were looking at the cave. Then I said, there must be some clue we can find, and we can find it from him. A second later, we saw someone walking. I said, let's be quiet and see what is happening. Immediately, another person was seen walking behind. I understood that a suspicious group is here, and something odd is happening here. We tried to move in closer to get a better look. When we got closer, they saw us. After that, we came screaming at them. After seeing us, they fled, leaving their equipment, including the phones behind.
ඊට පස්සේ තමයි අපි කෑ ගහගෙන දුවගෙන එලෝගෙන ආවේ. එනකොට ඒ කට්ටිය සියලුම ආයුධ ඔක්කොම ෆෝන් හිටන් ඔක්කොම දාලා එතනින්ම දුවන්න ගත්තා.
The suspects who were produced to the Anuradhapura Magistrates Court yesterday were remanded until the 15th of this month. Meanwhile, members of the National Bhikku Front visited the Mihinthale sacred grounds in order to inspect the location of the treasure hunt.
I would like to make a request from the Mahasangha of this country. These are times that you need to keep a lookout for. Otherwise, the historic sites of the country might get destroyed. Sometimes that happens with state patronage. That is why robbers who destroyed sacred archaeological sites don't get arrested. Therefore, we would like to request the Mahasangha and the people of this country to be vigilant.
Will the Kantale Wever face a similar fate which befell the Parakrama Samudra Wever? The agrarian collective in Kantale along with the Mahasangha opposed such a move earlier today.
The Kantale Wever, which was constructed during the reign of King Akbo II, nourishes over 27,000 acres of farmlands. It also quenches the thirst of many in Kantale, Trincomalee and Kinya. Against such a backdrop, an initial discussion had been held at the community hall in Kantale yesterday to construct a jogging track on the bunt of this invaluable wever. A group including parliamentarian representing the Trincomalee district, Kapila Atukorala, chairman of the Kantale Pradeshya Sabha and the irrigation engineer of Kantale had attended the discussion. During the meeting, it was revealed that a financial allocation of 20 million rupees had been approved for this task. 3 agrarian societies which represent the Kantale Agrarian Collective rallied to oppose the move today, pursuant to the revelation.
This proposal had been brought up earlier, but it had been defeated. Now there is an attempt to commence this amidst COVID-19.
Representatives of the Agrarian Collective also went to meet the irrigation engineer of Kantale, R.P. Weerasinghe. However, since the irrigation engineer was not present at the location, the group carried out a demonstration at the premises and then dispersed.
I must state, a jogging track is not what the people of Kantale require, especially at a time where daily wage earners are starving. The Mahasangha in Polonnaruwa also opposed a similar move to construct a jogging track on the bund of the Parakrama Samudra.
Chairman of the Kantale Pradeshya Sabha said a program to apprise agrarian communities and other factions on the matter will be held tomorrow.
Although the government has set a maximum retail price for sugar, certain areas are still offering sugar at higher prices. Even today, consumers were made to stand in long queues to purchase sugar.
According to the Gazette issued by the government, the maximum retail price of sugar stands at 122 rupees. But can you purchase sugar in the market at these prices? This is the manner in which people queued outside the Southern Cooperative store in Mathura to purchase sugar. Today, a kilo of sugar was sold at 205 rupees at the Mahava Co-op city stores belonging to the North India Multipurpose Cooperative Society. The Bibile Mathagama Sathasa provided the opportunity for the public to purchase sugar today. However, customers were only allowed to purchase 3 kilos of sugar each.
What is the sugar scam? On the 14th of October 2020, the import levy on sugar was dropped from 50 rupees to 25 cents. 67 corporations were involved in importing sugar to the country at the time. One particular organization held a 40% stake in total sugar imports to the country. Stocks of sugar in excess of 2,000 metric tons, which were imported by the relevant corporation, paying an import levy of just 25 cents, were then sold to Sathasa at 125 rupees to 127 rupees per kilo. Sugar was sold to consumers by Sathasa at 85 rupees. Has that not led to the people suffering a loss twice? More than 15 billion rupees in government revenue had been lost due to this scam. But those responsible are still at large. The cost of one AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine imported from India costs $5, which roughly translates to 1,000 Sri Lankan rupees. If 15 billion rupees had not been lost due to this scam, the funds could have been directed to procure nearly 15 million vaccines to supplement Sri Lanka's COVID-19 vaccination drive. Is it not the government funds which could have benefited the populace that are now being pocketed by a few? Shouldn't authorities act at least now to implement a mechanism to recover the lost revenue?
And that's a wrap of Primetime News on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, I've been Jayantha, along with our sign language interpreter for tonight, Tarka Gabriel. Do take care, stay safe, and good night.